Okay, so here we are after the race, just coming out of the 2D race viewer. I'm still on this screen here where it has the information about the grid and all that sort of stuff. Usually, first thing I do is just go back to home. You can see here I have to sign up fuel and tire supply again because I'm on one race contracts, and I got to do setup and strategy. You cannot do setup and strategy until you do fuel and tire supply. Next race is in Japan. It's not until Saturday, so I definitely don't want to do any testing. But I do want to sort of prepare myself on what I want to do in Japan. First thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to do training. So let's go ahead and go to training. And usually before I do training, I go ahead and I refresh myself on what my driver looks like right now. You know, because I always kind of forget what's going on with my driver and whatnot. So always before I do training, I check to see what's going on with my driver and my staff, because sometimes it's hard to keep track. So you can see, wow. Okay, yeah, four wins total now for Davi. All of those have come in the last 5 races, I believe. I believe I've won 4 of the 5 last races, and all of those have come recently. So really, it's really started coming together for this driver, and I think that has to do with the defending increase. You can see this kind of peak on the defending that's there now. That was not there before, but I've been training on defending, getting this focus and decisions up on this driver. And I really feel like that has significantly helped the race pace. You can see her health is pretty good. Reflexes are 16, stamina is 15. Obviously, you want those to be 20, but that's pretty good. You know, these are high. Also, my speed is pretty good as well. 15, 15, 16 for my speed. So she's quite up there. Her talent is 18, which is very good. Talent is one thing that I haven't really talked about yet. I talked about other attributes in the beginner video because you cannot see a driver's talent when you're signing a driver for the first time. You can't see any of these statistics. All you can see is the graph, and the graph doesn't show talent. In fact, talent doesn't factor in on that graph anywhere. None of those graph little thingies, none of those represent talent. So the only way you can see talent is when you become level 3 and you're going to sign a new driver. You can finally see their talent. Now when you're level 3 and or let's say you're 4 and you're looking for a new driver, level 4 you probably want to be looking for a driver that's maybe a 13 or a 14 talent, something like that. And you want somebody that has good health, because health is hard to train. You know, you're probably going to have to do some health training, but you want to do as little as you can, because again, it's +1 attribute. So when you're level 4, what I would recommend is go for a driver who's got pretty high talent, 13, 14, something like that, maybe 12 if you find a good one who's a 12, or 15 if you find a bad one who's a 15 that you want. You know, it's all based on what you want, but I would recommend probably going for a 13 or a 14 talent, and look for somebody who's really healthy, and then just train them in speed and defense, mainly speed, but defense as well a little bit. You know, maybe do speed for one race, and then speed again for the next race, and then defending for the 3rd race, and then back to speed again for the 4th race, and again for the 5th race, and then maybe some more defending. It really depends on what the driver needs, and what they have already, and what you want for the future. Really, you probably want your physical to be above 18. So the reflexes and stamina here, you're going to want those to be above 18 down the road. You know, I'm not talking right away. Right away, if you can find a driver at level 4 that has reflexes and stamina that are at like 10, 11, 12, I think that would be a great start. You know, I would have to actually pull up some level 4 drivers to really take a look at what's available. And I'm not going to do that right now. But you know, I'm just trying to give you guys a general idea. Basically, I'd look for a pretty good, talented driver who's very healthy, and just start training them in speed mainly, followed by defensive. You guys never want to train technical or mental. You're not going to be training technical or mental or attacking really anytime soon. The main 2 that you want to focus on are speed and physical, followed by defending. The defending attribute focus focus really seems to have effect on race pace. My focus on this driver was really, really bad, and she was not very good. And then I got her focus up to, I think it's an 8 now. Sorry, I walked away from my monitor. Yeah, her focus is an 8 right now, and she's gotten a lot better. She's winning races now. She's crazy fast. I mean, you saw you just saw the race if you saw the one at Singapore that I just did. So focus really seems to help with race pace, so it is something that you want, but again, obviously, as you can see, it's not as important as speed, talent, or health. Once you're level 6, 7, once you're level 7, I'd say, that's when you really want to start looking for drivers that are like 17 talent and higher. I'd say by the time you're level 8, you're going to want a 20 talent driver. Right now, the one at Davi here, she has 18 talent. The level 8 driver that I have on my other account, she has 20 talent. Also, I'm going to go ahead and I think this is the first time I'm really confirming this, but I do believe Alex Gillen and I have we believe we figured out that female drivers are in fact faster than male drivers in iGP Manager. The reason for that is because they can be 5 kilos lighter. You'll see my female driver here is 46 kilograms. You cannot have a male driver that's below 51 kilograms. And that weight difference does make a difference, and that's the only difference between females and males in this game, is that weight difference. There is no benefit whatsoever to getting a male driver. So generally, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys that you probably want to get a female driver, especially once you're higher level. When you're lower levels, obviously, once again, you're going to be replacing that driver more than likely, unless you happen to find someone with 20 talent. So you're gonna want to go for whoever you can get lower levels, because again they're gonna get replaced. But once you start getting higher and higher levels and you start sticking with drivers for longer and longer, because you can see here I've done 20 races now with Davi, so that's 20 times I've trained her. So she looked nothing like this when I got a hold of her. This is all this is really weeks of progress. 10 weeks of training for this driver to become the driver that she is right now. Her speed, physical, and defending have all improved pretty significantly since I've gotten her. So again, she didn't look like this. I molded her into the driver that I wanted her to be. So right now, though, to get back on track with what we're doing right now, I'm only going to keep her again, I believe, for one more race. I believe the next race with Davi is going to be my last one. It's a little unfortunate because she's been winning and stuff, and again, the next driver I get will probably be a little bit worse, at least at first. But you got to look forward to the future, and unfortunately, 18 talent just isn't quite enough. Also, you can't increase talent. Sorry that I didn't mention that sooner. Talent is the only attribute that you cannot train. You cannot train talent at all. There's no way to increase a driver's talent, which is why it's so important that you find a driver who already has high talent. It's very important. We don't know exactly the modifier. Alex had this theory where every point of talent increases the driver's abilities all around by a %. So if you have 20 talent, then whatever your attributes are get increased by 20%. I don't know if those were the exact numbers that he gave, but basically saying each point of talent is a flat rate increase in all other attributes. So that's kind of the hypothesis as it stands right now, is that talent affects everything else. Absolutely everything. So, and again, it can't be trained. So talent is the big thing that you're looking for. But again, when you're level 4, 5, something like that, you're going to be looking for a driver whose talent is maybe between 12 and 16, something like that. Once you're level 6 and 7, you're going to be looking for a driver whose talent is between maybe 16 and 18. And then once you're level 7, 8, 9, in that area, you're looking for a 20 talent driver, or at least someone very, very close to 20 talent. Again, I would focus on getting a driver who's healthy, because it is so difficult to train physical. Again, you only get one of these 2 attributes, the reflexes and stamina. So for example, let's go ahead and do an example here. For my driver, for Teresa here, to get 20 out of 20 for health. She would need 10. She would need 10 more to get to 100% health, because the maximum amount of health that you can gain through training after each race is 2%. So to get to 100% health, it would take 10 races of training nothing but physical. And then to get these at 20 out of 20, it would take 9 races. So if I trained physical and doctor for the next 9 races, her health would be at 98%, reflexes would be at 20, and stamina would be at 20. But that's going to take 9 races. To get my speed up to 20, it's only going to take 5 races. And that's because it adds +1 to each of these. At the same time, it adds +1. Rather than flip-flopping between them, it does a blanket +1 to all 3 of these. So that means in 5 races, I could have all 3 of these up to 20. Same thing with focus. Focus gets, and decisions, they get split 2 and 1 when you train them. So basically, I'm 12 away from 20 with focus, and you get 1.5 per race, because you get 3 every 2 races if you train on defense. So that means it would take 8 races to get my focus up to 20. So again, just to break that down for you, I'm only 5 races from having max speed, I'm only 8 races from having max focus, but I'm 9 races from having max health. And again, that just goes to show you how much more difficult it is to train health. So when you're looking for a new driver, go ahead, find somebody with high talent, find somebody with high reflexes, high stamina, find somebody with high health percent, and then go ahead and start training their speed, their defending, and then, you know, what little physical is left as well. You'll see I've done nothing on attacking, I've done nothing on mental and technical. The technical and mental stats that are there right now, those were there when I signed her. I have never once trained anything but speed, physical, and defending for this driver. Possibly in a later video down the road, we'll go ahead and take a look at what the top drivers look like. But basically, you want a straight line that goes from speed to attacking, and then back across to defending, back across to physical, and back across to speed. So it looks like a rectangle. That's the kind of driver that you're looking for. And you see my rectangle is kind of, you know, just starting to form up here on this side. And this is the side of the rectangle that matters more. So again, speed and physical are your priority. After that, it's going to be defending and then attacking finally. Again, do not train mental or technical. They will actually make your driver slower. I'm not even joking with you. So do not bother ever training for mental or technical. This is all subject to change, of course, but as it stands right now, don't mess with those because those are not what you're going to want to do. So again, because I'm replacing this driver, I'm just going to ignore health and physical. Speed is already looking pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and do defense training one last time for this driver. That'll bring her focus up to either 9 or 10. Let's go ahead and find out. Because right now decisions is 8 and focus is 8. One of these is going to get +2, the other one will get +1. So hopefully we get focus, but let's see what happens. We're going to train defending. Nope, we got +2 decisions and +1 focus. So the next time we train, or the next time somebody trains defending with Teresa here, they'll get +2 focus and +1 decisions. Now, as far as the staff goes, sorry, I'm used to opening things in new tabs. Let me take a look at my staff. So I got it 17 for designers, 11 for mechanics. I'm going to go ahead and keep working on my mechanics. I'd like to get these guys higher. Obviously, my designers need to be a little bit higher too, but I think I want to get these guys up to like 15 or so. So let me go ahead, go back to training, and I'm going to go ahead and train engineering. And there we go. So that's going to do it for training. Let me go ahead and go to design. So after each race, you do need to select what you're going to design. excuse me, what you're going to spy on. Now this season is kind of messed up. Basically, I started the season at 90% on my components. That was a bad idea. I don't recommend doing that. I started at 90%. I put my focus on next season straight away, but it didn't matter because these are so high. It made my development for next season really slow. You can see I'm only at 30% for next season, and I'm at 100% for this season on 4 out of the 3 components. And you can see here, I'm working on these components for next season, but it's not going to get any benefit from this season, so it's kind of a waste, really. It's really unfortunate. Also, I've done all of this spying, but it's all for nothing because my components are already at 100%. So normally though, you would come in here and I would just pick, so last time I did internals, so this time I would pick chassis. I know that Duck GP, which is Jerome, I know that all his components are 100%, so he is the person to spy on, we know that for sure. Select chassis and then just hit save all, and it's going to spy on his chassis for next season. But again, it's not going to make any difference as far as spying for me this season because I'm already at 100% basically. These 3 here, these will be at 100% before the next race, which is on Saturday, 3 days from now. So these will definitely be at 100% by Saturday. So generally, though, the only thing you're doing in design is either allocating your designers here, or you're doing your spying stuff after the race. So you'll see here, I have 138 designers available, but it takes 60 designers just for me to have a single component ready for tomorrow. This is actually today's date, but it'll be ready for tomorrow. So tomorrow, I'm going to get a new chassis and a new side pod, and it'll probably increase next season's performance by 2%. Excuse me. So these will go to 31%. And then tomorrow, I'm going to take the 60 off of these 2 parts, and I'm going to put 60 onto front wing and rear wing, because those are the lowest that are for next season. So again, tomorrow when I come to my design page, it's going to say 31, 31, 30, 29, 31, 31, 31. Obviously, I want to design the ones that are the lowest, which is the 30 and the 29. So when I come here tomorrow, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and it's going to look like that. And then, you know, the next day I'll pick the next 2 that are the lowest, and I'll design those, and so on and so forth. When I was first starting out, what I would do is I would like evenly distribute all my designers so that there are new parts ready, you know, like a couple weeks from now. Don't do that. That's a waste of time. Just put as many designers on a component as it takes to be ready for tomorrow. So let's pretend that you're trying to find out how many designers you need to get your part ready for tomorrow. So you know, you can see with 5 designers, it's not gonna be ready till May. That's like 3 seasons away. So we're gonna have to keep going up. You can see we're into April now, we're into March, into February. So the exact number of designers that I need to have it ready for January 22nd is actually 58. I usually go 1 past that, so 59 makes it say that it'll say that it's going to be ready for today, but it'll actually be for tomorrow. So really, I only need 59, but again, you know, I don't have enough to do a 3rd part, so I've just been kind of rounding up to 60. Same thing with the side pods. Let's go ahead and just find out. So keep scrolling up. See, same thing. So 59. It's, yeah, because it's 129 and 129. So it's the exact same amount of designers. I will get a little boost in design next level. In fact, let's go ahead and talk about that. We can talk about some of the higher level facilities real quick. So you can see here, I've got my simulator, I got my gym, I got the research facility, I've already done reverse engineering. DRS was at level 4, and then KERS was at level 6. I don't remember how much these cost, but it was pretty expensive if I remember correctly, like 10 million for DRS, 20 for KERS, I think, 20 million, something like that. I have heard that once you research these 3, you can sell the research facility and you get $5 million back. Obviously, I'm not strapped for cash, so I'm not going to even bother doing that, but I've heard you can do that. That's a little trick that you guys might know. The motorhome here boosts relationships if attending races. I'm not sure what sort of difference that makes. That's one of those things where I really am not 100% sure. So if anybody watching this can let me know in the comments exactly what the motorhome does. if I'm not mistaken, I believe my assumption is that by boosting relationships, I can sign people for less money. That's what I'm assuming. That might be wrong. Again, hopefully one of you guys will let me know. So this is the commerce facility. You can see on this account I do actually have 4 marketers. I went ahead and just assigned 1 marketer per item of commerce here. Commerce is another one of those things that I don't really understand all that much. You really don't make much money off of it. You could see last race, and again, this is with just 4 marketers. Last race, I only made $100,000 off of merchandise sales. And this season, I've only made $1.6 million. And this season's almost over. We're like 15 races in. So you really don't make much from the commerce center unless you devote a whole bunch of people to it. And if you devote a whole bunch of people to it, then you're going to have less designers, and then your car is going to be slower. And then it's like, what's the point? So honestly, you may want to just not buy the the commerce center. I think it costs like $10 million to pay for it. And if you're like me and you're only making $100,000 per race off of it, that means it is literally going to take 100 races before I start seeing a profit from this commerce center. 100 races. That's insane. That's insane. So honestly, you guys may just want to, like, I think I told Alex Gillen, don't bother with the commerce center, and I think that's exactly what he did. He never did buy it, and there's no point in owning it. You really don't make enough money off of it. The next facility is the weather station. It's $50,000 per race for the weather station. That's chump change, though. Obviously, 50 grand is not much. The prediction period you can set here: 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, 5 minute. I find when it's set for longer periods of time, it's a lot less accurate, and it's really not helping. So honestly, you probably want to go for 1 or 2 minutes when it comes to the weather station. Again, rain is turned off right now, though, so it doesn't even make a difference. So you don't get anything at level 7. Level 7's a really boring level as far as facilities and stuff. Oh, right, offices. You finish leveling up offices at level 5. So once you hit level 5, you'll have your full staff of 200 people, which will mean you can have, I think it's 141 designers. Is the max number of designers you can have, assuming that you want to have the 34-24 for mechanics and engineers. Then you can have up to 141, I believe, is for the design. You can have 141 designers. Now, level 8, though, you get a nice you get a test rig and a wind tunnel. Test rig accelerates mechanical design, which is like suspension, and the wind tunnel accelerates aerodynamic design, which is front wing, rear wing. You get both of those at level 8. Again, I will be level 8 after the next race, and then I'll be able to buy both of these. It's going to cost $45 million, but I have $141 million, so this will barely make a dent in my money, so I've got plenty of money built up, no worries there at all. And these, again, just like what they say, they accelerate design, so they make it so that you design components faster. So rather than gaining 2%, if I had the wind tunnel, I would be gaining 3 or 4 or 5%, something like that. Or I would be able to do more components with less designers. I don't know if the actual percent increases or if just the amount of designing that your designers do is increased. So either way, it's a big benefit, though, and you really want to go ahead and get those. Again, that's at level 8. I mean, it took me months to get to level 8. It's because you get 40 experience per race. So if you race in a league that races every day, then you might actually hit level 8 pretty quickly, maybe just in 2 or 3 months or something. I'm not sure. It'd probably be pretty fast. I only initially on this account, I raced once a week. Now we race twice a week, so it's a little hard to judge, but it took me 8 months basically to become level 8. So it's not something that happens very quickly unless you play in a league that's every day. Now, in a league that's every day, because I did say I would touch on this later, you have less time to design. So because there's only 2 races per week with this league, that means the season is longer, which means you can develop more over the course of it. So you have more time to get to 100% or whatever your goal is. You have more time to develop. If you race in a league that's every day, your components are going to be lower percent, but your driver is going to level up a lot faster, and you're going to level up a lot faster too, obviously, because you're going to be getting 280 experience per week. And your driver is going to be training 7 times per week. So remember, my driver Davi, I've done 20 races with her. If you're in a league that races every day, that'll only take 3 weeks rather than 10 weeks, which it took for me. So it's 3 times quicker. So things just happen faster when you're in a league that races every day. So when you're just starting out, you may want to go ahead and go for a league that, depending on your availability, either races once a week or twice a week. 3 times a week, it starts getting a little hectic. I race 5 times a week, actually, because I have the 2 accounts. 3 times a week with Alex's league, 2 times a week with Onage's league, and it's all different days, so that's 5 times a week. And that's pretty hectic, for sure. But I really enjoy the game. I have a lot of fun with it. And I can actually play it while I'm at work. And by play it, I mean I can, plan for the next race and stuff like that. So that's why I race 5 times a week. Now you may have a lot of free time on your hands, and you might want to hit level 8 as soon as you can, so that you can join Alex Gillen's league and be competitive, for example. That's something you can do. So if you want to be a more similar level to Alex or Onage or myself, what you could do is join an everyday league, level up really quickly, and then you can switch over to one of either Alex's league or Onage's league. Right now, I would say that Alex's league is a little bit more competitive than Onage's, but that just happened. The AOR league was definitely the more competitive one, but then more competitive people started joining Alex's league. This new season that just started is incredibly tough. I am fighting, like tooth and nail fighting for 5th place positions in these races. I mean, and like by a 1/10 of a second at the end of the race, I'm ahead of this guy, and that was for 5th. So it's far more competitive. Well, not far. It is more competitive right now in Alex's league. So if you're looking to jump in here and run with the best of them and stuff like that, Alex's league is a good choice. If you're looking for, and also because it runs three days a week, if you're looking for a little bit more of a relaxed setting where it's still very competitive, AOR is really good for that. I really enjoy both of them. Great communities in both of them. I will say Alex's league probably has a lot more Brits, whereas the AOR league has a lot more Europeans from all over the place, Italy and Switzerland and just all over the European continent, whereas Alex's is definitely a lot of Brits, a lot of British people like Alex Gillen. So if you're looking to join either of those, that's just kind of a heads up. So that gives you a little bit more information about what it's like to drive in an everyday league versus once a week league, and so on and so forth. If you want something that's a little bit slower paced, then obviously you want to race less per week. Okay, let's check my emails here. End of supply with Comb Home. Oh, that's right. I ended up just doing a long contract with Elves because I was kind of getting sick of re-signing every time, and really I wasn't switching. I do switch the tires between Comb Home and Dunlots, depending on what strategy I want to run and whatnot. But the Elves, it really seems I've been sticking with that, so I'm not really messing with the fuels anymore. I went ahead and just did a long, 17 race contract with them for 20,000 a race, but I do have to re-sign Comb Homes. But actually, before I decide my tire type, I'm going to go ahead and look at the next track. So the next track is Suzuka. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up last season's race in Suzuka. So that would have been round 15 of season 3. So I qualified 3rd and I finished 8th. Yeah, I think this was either a really tough race. You can see it was very close in the top guys there. But I think I may have not been attending. Oh no, this was I think this was one of my first races with Davi, and she really needed a lot of work at that time. So I think that's all it is Davi wasn't that great. You can see though I did get fastest lap of the race. So yeah, she had good speed, just her consistency wasn't very good at the time. So let's see. Last time I ran 5 laps of the super softs and then 777 of the softs. The softs were at about 30% at the end of the stint. Super softs were at about 28%. Okay, so now in order to decide if I want to use comb homes or Dunlots, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find out what the forecast is for the weather. So if you go to live weather, right now it's 10 degrees Celsius, of course. This is around the, it's now an hour and a half. It's 2:20 right now. The race is going to start at 1 o'clock, so it's about the same time of day. And again, it's not going to rain. It's definitely going to be sunny. So this might be 100% accurate as far as what the race is going to look like. Yep, it sure is, because even Saturday it says the high is going to be 12 degrees C. You'll notice it still says rain in the forecast, but it will not rain. It won't even be cloudy. It'll just be sunny on account of the settings for the game right now. Okay, and actually you can see here, pit time still says 0. Even though I have run this race before on this account, and it still says 0, so clearly that's not working right now, is the pit time thing on the track information. So it's going to be cold, and the last time that I raced there, the five laps on Super Soft worked out just fine, and the 7 laps on the soft worked out just fine as well. Recently, though, I have been going for the shorter stints at the end. So rather than stopping on laps 5, 12, and 19, I think I'm going to stop on laps 7, 14, and 21. And that'll give me my super soft stint at the end of the race. So my qualifying position will be a little bit lower, but I'll be stopping later than people. And actually, you don't undercut people in this game. You don't undercut. You don't pit a lap before someone and then come out and then they come out behind you. It's the exact opposite in this game. You want to undercut people. You want to stay out 1 lap extra, and that's because of fuel. When you stay out 1 lap extra, the person that pit now has heavy fuel, cold tires, whereas your car has nice temperature tires and practically no fuel in it. So generally, you want to be doing 1 extra lap versus your competition rather than coming in early. Also, that'll keep you out of traffic as well. Staying out longer in the beginning stint will also keep you out of traffic when you do finally come into pit, because there's a higher chance of other people having pit already as well. So I went ahead and took care of assembly. Oh, that's right. I need to, hold on, let me save this. Did it save? Okay. And let me accept this. Oh, right. I need to re-sign comb home. Yeah. That's a tough one, actually. That's a tough one. I'm gonna go ahead and do Dunlots for this one, actually, because they were at 30%. If my tires last time in Suzuka, if they were at 25%, I think I would go for the comb homes. But because they were at 30%, I'm gonna go ahead and go for the Dunlots. So we're at 9 out of 10. Oh, right. Somebody already commented on one of my iGP videos, and they said when you get to 6 out of 10 on relationship, you can start getting 20,000 per race from the tire manufacturers, and just for single race contracts as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we do have to wait for the response. So let's go ahead and take a look at the standings while we wait for that. So you can see my latest win moves me a little bit further ahead of Chen, the Swift Attack team there. Currently, that is my target. That's who I'm in battle with. You can see Duncan has 71 points more than me. And there are how many races left? 3. Yeah, so Duncan would have to retire from the races, and I would have to finish. I would have to win all 3 of them, and he would have to finish none of them, basically. So he is pretty much confirmed as the champion. I'm only 41 points behind Ross. 3 races remaining. That's gonna add up to 14. So if I can outscore Ross an average of 14 points per race, I can take 2nd place in the championship. But it doesn't really matter. It's like Ricky Bobby says, if you ain't first, you're last. And that's pretty much how it is. If you don't win the championship, then you're not winning anything. So battling between second place really doesn't matter. Let's see, where did he finish for Nismo? Racing. Where did he finish today? Oh, he finished in 11th. Okay, well, if that trend continues, then certainly I will get second place in the championship. But no, Duncan's consistency has just been too good this season. And in fact, if we go to the schedule, you can see who's won races. So Giron won the first race, and then Nismo, and then Swift Attack, and then Duncan. So actually, we had 4 different winners in the first 4 races this season. It was pretty surprising. And then Nismo again, and then Swift Attack again, and then Nismo again. So Nismo kind of took an early lead with James Wright here after winning 3 races. Duncan, though, consistently getting second places in a lot of these races. Then he got a second race win at the British Grand Prix, and then it was Nismo. And then I won 3 in a row at Hungary, Valencia, and Spa. I nearly won the Italian Grand Prix as well, but Duncan used his KERS a lot better than I did, and he deserved that win for sure. I was leading the race for most of the race, but Duncan ended up taking me on the final lap or the second to last lap, something like that, and he won that race. And then I just won this one. So again, I've won 4 out of the 5 last races. Those are also my first wins with Davi. I never won a race with her up until that point. So you can really see how training makes a huge difference in a driver. So again, you know, your new driver might be slower at first. The Davi was certainly slower than the driver I had before her. When I first got Davi, but now she's absolutely amazing. She's really great. I don't know if she's going to get picked up by anyone, unfortunately, because she's level 8 now. When you train a driver, it increases their level. So the only people that can hire her are level 8 people. And I'm as soon as I turn level 8, I'm going to drop her. So I doubt she's going to get picked up by anybody. This is very possibly the end of her career. Although I think her stats will start to go down as she's not racing. These stats will start to go down, all of them except for talent and experience. And that'll lower her level, and then eventually she might get picked up once again by a new team. You could see that she was absent actually for some pretty long periods of time. She raced from November 2013 till March 2014, and then she didn't race for about 4 months. She was picked up by Epsilon TEK2, raced for them for about 3 weeks, and then once again was dropped for about 4 months until November, which is when I picked her up. And I think I picked her up at level 6 or 7. I think 7. As soon as I hit level 7, I think I picked her up. She was my level 7 driver that I grabbed as soon as I hit level 7. She's been good. Obviously, you know, it's kind of a bummer. She's just getting amazing, and I'm about to drop her. But that's kind of how it goes with drivers in iGP Manager. That's just the way it is. So let's go ahead and pick up this Dunlot's contract now. And we can go ahead and get set up for the next race once again. I know I've already gone through this with you guys, but again, you know, it doesn't hurt to go through it once again. So first thing I'm going to do is, since I have a previous setup from another year or from another season, I'm going to go ahead and load the last season's setup. You can see here I did the super soft stint at the beginning rather than at the end, but I'm going to change that. 33. 24. So all I did was switch this one and this one. So I'm going to qualify on the soft tires, but I'm going to have a nice super soft stint at the end, and that should be nice. So 2 millimeters, standing water, full wet tires, change to softs after 3 laps, unscheduled pit stop within 3 laps, all that good stuff. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and do a test run. Oh, wait, yep, we want this on bring the car home, don't take any risks. Going to do a test run. Increase by 2 and then increase by 4. This one's to be a lot higher. 53. Man, that is a lot higher. Decrease by 4, decrease by 3, increase by 2, increase by 1. We're going to save that, and I'm going to go ahead and run one more. Feels good, increase by 1, feels good, decrease by 1. Feels good, increase by 1. Okay, so again, I'm only running 2 today. I'm going to save the other 3 tests for the day of the race. So I've got a nice setup here, so that way if I forget to do these tests, you know, I'm not like screwed or anything. But I'll go ahead and refine refine the strategy or the setup right before the race. 10, 20, 30 minutes before the race, I'll go ahead and refine it, do my last little tweaks. But basically, this is good right here. This should be, I mean, based on my driver's performance today, this should be good enough to win the race. You know, it might be a little bit closer with Duncan, but this should be good enough. And then hopefully with the additional 3 test runs, I'll really be able to knock it out of the park, and get 7 feels goods. So that is going to do it for this video. This might be the last one for a little while. Obviously, I've covered a lot of stuff at this point. Pretty much everything has been covered. We did all the partners stuff, done all the staff stuff. I went over the training in depth in previous videos, and also now this one as well, gone even more in depth with it. Design as well. I feel like we've pretty much touched base on all that. You guys know how to clone, you know how to design. Again, remember, you want to focus all your designers on your lowest level parts for next season or this season, whatever you're doing. I might record one more video on my other account, just so that you guys can see what it's like for me to lose, because again, in Gillen's league, I'm fighting for 5th place. So maybe this coming Friday, the 23rd, I'll record one more video just so you guys can see me struggle. Really, I guess is how it is. And maybe that will give you guys even more information by seeing me struggle. So again, that's going to do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. I appreciate you sticking with me. I hope this information was useful. If you find any information yourself, feel free to post it here in the comments. Already, a lot of these videos getting lots of comments with questions and tips from people who are even more experienced than myself. So make sure you guys check out the comments section down below at the end of the videos, because there's going to be a wealth of information that's available to you in there as well. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you next time.